Hey, this is a tutorial for SongKernel for non-musicians. If you're a musician or you're familiar with basic concepts of music theory, you'd better go to the tutorial for musicians. Well, SongKernel helps you play sequences of chords, play songs, or even make your own songs and learn how the system of song making works, basic rules of which chord comes after which other chord. So Western music uses 12 notes. Those 12 notes, we can see them here. Well, here it's a little bit dark, but you can see those are the names of the notes used in Western music. We can start from A, and then we have A sharp or B flat, then B, then C, then C sharp or D flat, D, D sharp or E flat, E, F, F sharp or G flat, G, G sharp or A flat, and then we get back to A. In fact, we can have several A's, but all of them are going to have twice the frequency or half the frequency of another note with the same name, so they're going to sound, well, that doesn't matter. That's once you go deeper into your music knowledge. But the important thing is that Western music uses 12 notes. Now, when you make a song, you use a scale, and that means that you're not going to use the 12 notes, but only some of them, usually 7. So we're going to have this that shows you which of those 7 notes you can use. So we have number 1 here, and we put it on a certain note that we're going to use, let's suppose C, and it shows us that now we can use C, D, E, F, ignore this, G, ignore this, A, and B, 7 notes. So between our first note C and our second note D, there's one note in between that we're not going to use. Then between our second and our third, there's another note in between that we're not going to use. Between our third and our fourth note, there's nothing in between. Between F and G, there's another. Between G and A, there's another note. A and B, the same. And then between our 7th note and our first one, again, there's nothing in between. Well, here we have the 12 notes, and here we have the ones that we can use. And if you observe this carefully, you're going to see that that is the same pattern of the keyboard of a piano. We have white keys and black keys. If we start counting from a certain note, which is C, we're going to have this array of notes. 7 notes, 7 white notes that we can use, and 5 black keys representing notes that we're not going to use. So we're going to build a song with melody and chords only using those 7 notes. Now, what is a chord? A chord is a set of 3 or more notes played at the same time, which are built by stacking every other note of that scale. So we have number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're going to take 1, 3, and 5 to make up our first chord. If we take note number 2, 4, and 6, we're going to have our second chord. 3, 5, 7, it's our third chord. 4, 6, and then 1 again is our fourth chord. 5, 7, 2, our fifth chord. 6, 1, and 3, the sixth chord. 7, 2, and 4, the seventh chord. Okay, so here we have SongKernel, which is the instrument we're going to use for this. Once we select those 7 notes, we can start counting on every place we like, but that's usually on two places. That usually happens on two places. We either start counting here or we start counting here, and that is what a major or a minor scale is. Let's go back to this drawing. Here we have number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 if we are in a major, on a major scale. But if we go to a minor scale, the only thing we do is start counting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there we have a natural minor scale. Well, here you see a switch that reads major and minor. That means you're going to play on either a major or a minor scale. When it is on major, number 1 is here. Here we have our chord number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But when we go to minor scale, you see the drawing is the same, but now number 1 is here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. The same thing happens here on the piano. When it is in a major scale, number 1 is here. When it is in a minor scale, number 1 is here. So we can say that the difference between a major and a minor scale is that they start counting the notes on a different position, but the notes are the same. Now, here we can set whether we want to play on a major and a minor scale, but now we also may want to choose the scale itself. So that is represented, the name of the scale is the name of the first note. So let's suppose we want to play E major. So here's E, and we can drag it either to one side or to the other, clockwise or counterclockwise. It's the same. We move it a little bit and it will go directly to position 1. So now we're going to play on the scale of E major. And here's our first chord. If we wanted to play on the minor scale, on E minor, then we select this on minor scale, and here now we have E. We move it and goes to the first position, because now on minor scale number 1 is here. So well, now you know how to set a scale on SongKernel. Now you have the chords you can use. On the central circle you have the 7 chords that you can use. If you play them with one finger, you're going to play chords made up of 3 notes. Here you can choose a pitch, and we can take it here. Now if you play buttons with 2 fingers, then the chords are going to have 4 notes. They are the same chords then played with 1 finger but with an extra note. The first 3 are the same but with an extra 4th note. There are few buttons here, 3 buttons, that can be played with 3 fingers. They have these little 3 dots here. That means that the 4th note that you're going to add is different than the one when you play them with 2 fingers. Now that extra note that you're going to play when you use those 3 fingers is out of a scale. Now what happens? We say we're playing on a scale, and now I show you chords that have notes that are not part of a scale. Well, you can use that. In fact, most good songs use chords that are not, which have notes that are not part of a scale. So it's a little bit like breaking the rules, but you cannot break those rules any way you like. There are certain kind of chords that you can use in certain situations very carefully, which can fit a song and create a good effect, but it doesn't mean it's a chaos. So out of these 7 buttons, you have all these other buttons, which are in fact chords, which have notes that are not part of the scale, but you can use in certain situations. You will also notice that buttons have colors: green, yellow, and red. Well, green buttons are called the roots. They bring some sense of relax after playing chords which are yellow or red. Yellow chords add a little bit more tension, and red chords add the most tension, which you usually want to relax and go back to a green chord. So a typical sequence would be 1, 4, 5. There are thousands of songs made up with 1, 4, and 5. So in fact, there is gonna be more tension if we play the 5th chord with 2 fingers. You see? And for example, here we have another red chord. That means if we play it, there's an arrow here showing us, okay, you'd better go here now. So in case you're making a song and for whatever reason you want to go here, you can use this one. You can use this red note because it will help you go here. It doesn't matter that this chord has a note that is not part of a scale. You can see it here. It's using a note that is not part of a scale. You have noticed the arrows. The arrows show you that a red arrow shows you a logic chord to go after the chord you've played. That will only appear after you play a chord which has a red color. It doesn't mean that you have to go there. You can do whatever you want. In fact, there are no rules, but that is the logic thing, what is going to fit your ear. And then yellow arrows show that you have followed that path. So let's suppose we start here. It's a red chord, it tells you to go here. We come here, and now the arrow becomes yellow, indicating that we have followed that logic path. That path is called the circle of 5th or circle of 4th. Then we go here. There are lots of songs that follow this, that start here. Well, basically, when you play songs composed by other people and then you get the hang of those rules in order to make your own songs, well, you're gonna notice that there are 3 basic patterns followed. You choose a chord to start your song, usually a green one. You can start on number 1 or end with number 1, but once you start, the next chord you can play could be a chord of the same color, a chord across the arrow, or a chord that is next to the one you have just played. So let's suppose we start here. We could move to the same color, or where the arrow indicates, which is here, or to one chord that is next to this. So you're going to notice that in most songs, if you analyze them, those are the 3 patterns followed all the time. You go to a chord of the same color, or you follow the arrows on both ways, or you go to a chord which is next to the one you have just played. And here we have a piano. Well, this is not a typical piano because it gets adapted to the scale you choose here for the wheel. So now we're playing on G major, and here on note number 1 we have G. So we're always going to play white keys. You can also play black keys, of course, but they're not going to be part of a scale, so it's going to be a little bit strange unless you're an expert and you know which note out of the scale is going to fit your song. You may want to play on a different part of the piano, so you can scroll it right or left, always dragging it from these places between the blocks of black keys where there is no note. You can drag it from here. And you're gonna notice that when you play a chord here, there are lights here. Okay, this shows which are the notes this chord is made up of. So this chord uses these 3 notes. So when you make a melody, you usually use the same notes that the chord is made up of. And if you want to know which is the chord you're playing, you can see the display here. Now we're playing C major, and this is E minor, and this is A minor, and this is F sharp diminished. Here on top of the screen you have the advanced user panel. Well, once you learn more, you're gonna learn what to do with that, and you can check that on the other tutorial for musicians. But in case you play a note here and something starts sounding wrong, okay, just play the reset button and everything will go back to normal. If you want to play along songs, what you do is you download a song from the site, from the website, and you load it here and you choose which song you want to play. Now, once you select a song, here you have to pay attention to this little display. It tells you which is the scale of this song. So it says C sharp minor. So it's very important that you set that first before playing, otherwise it will not sound good. So we go to minor scale, C sharp, and we're ready to play. And now there's text that is going to scroll here, and we have to play the chord or the button that is indicated when it crosses this line here. And it may indicate also that some button has to be played with 2 fingers. So let's see a little example.